Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And thank you for the panelists. Your testimony was riveting. Mr. Puri, you touched on the importance of the educational partnership, and I'm a direct product of that. My parents, immigrated here as students from India in the 1950s, as have many immigrants. As we think about the Indian American community, we've prospered, and we've done very well here in the United States and have continued to give back to the United States economically, academically, and so forth. And I'd ask any of the panels to think about the role of the Indian American community here domestically as we strengthen the partnership with India, and what advice you would give to the community here to help accelerate this relationship and how to use that.
Well, I think the community here is already engaged in the dialogue. I mean, you're seeing some of us already here, so that's in the process. But I think, to me, maybe I really believe education is very, very important, because we look at those students who come from India as a big source of revenue because they pay full fare, but they also contribute a lot in terms of technology. But you got to understand that in India, there's a huge education market. Every Indian parent will sell their land or other things to educate their children. It's a $50 billion market, but also builds very, very strong bonds. Having done 2 major conclaves, I can just tell you that if we get engaged in this, the benefits, especially we have started engaging corporates in there. So last delegation we took Iowa, we took companies from Iowa with us, Principal Group and others, John Deere, et cetera. The benefits are to those companies, benefits are to the United States, benefits are to India and to the educational institutions. So I think that's a win-win situation, and we should start looking at STEM teachers here too, because there's a crying need. And if you know, Mr. Bera, some of the math and science experts that exist in India, it's incredible. They are currently being taught from Skype. Students here are being taught from Skype in India, so we could do a lot better in doing those things.
Mr. Dhume.
Thank you. This is a question right after my heart. I spent a lot of time thinking about this. I would say that you could divide that question into 2 parts, really. There are the practical ways in which the Indian American community, which is about 3 million strong, can contribute. It's a wealthy and educated community. It can give back in terms of business ties, Indian American-owned companies investing, and so on. But I, in fact, think that the more important thing is the contribution of this community to India in terms of ideas. This is a community that has prospered in the United States precisely because the United States has got certain really big things right in terms of its ideas of pluralism, in terms of its ideas of tolerance, in terms of its ideas of economic freedom. And so I think that if I had to summarize this in a sentence, I would say the key role for the Indian American community in terms of giving back to India is to take the principles that have made the U.S. prosperous and strong and find ways to promote those ideas in an Indian context.
Great. Thank you. Let me try to get my second question in here. We've talked a lot about the U.S. relationship with China versus the U.S. relationship with India. Is it possible during the rebalance, the Asian rebalance, for the U.S. to enhance both relationships, or are they in conflict? And I'd direct that to Mr. Lohman or Mr. Nera.
Briefly, yes, I do think you can enhance both relationships. That's kind of the difficulty, because it makes for a very complex set of relationships. We're trying to improve relations with China. At the same time, we're balancing against them, and we're trying to come to the defense of our friends in the region. We're trying to get the Indians involved in that effort, and we're not even clear on what the object of our effort is in East Asia. So I think it's possible. I think it also very much complicates the situation.
I would add that actually it's essential, because I think India would find it very difficult if it felt that there was a G2 being created between the United States and China, and that it was excluded from any future developments in the Asia-Pacific region that was solely the product of the relations between those 2 countries.
Great. Thank you. I'll yield back my time.
Thank you.